And straight into map 1 we go. Vertigo will be our first playing field as we do end up heading into Endpoint versus BlGOMEN Academy. Both teams that are very close together in the HLTV rankings, 58 and 59 respectively.
Yeah, the map pool is Vertigo, Mirage, and Overpass. This, of course, being the first map. Big Academy pick into it. But it is a map that Endpoint, at one point or another, were one of the best in the sort of emerging teams market. They innovated quite a lot of stuff on this map, but haven't seen as many a good performance with the several iterations of the lineup that they've had to go through. See whether BlGOMEN Academy can throw a spanner in the works nice and early. A play over towards the B bomb site. All the Molotovs and smokes that are down. Fessor's in an awkward spot. Didn't actually have a foothold on the site and actually tried too hard to force that duel. They're losing lives, they're losing numbers, and they've lost every single one of the fights bar one. Only Surreal that remains.
Yeah, not the best way to start things off, and yeah, Surreal will be able to find a couple of kills, maybe two, but Process coming in from the side should have the jump on him, and there you have it. First round secured from BlGOMEN Academy. Process again, one of the big two who has been coming through with a fair bit of hubbub and hullabaloo around him, between him and Sin, I do believe, for the BlGOMEN side.
Yeah. And he was somebody that was actually a part of I think, the initial foundlings of the Big Academy squad. And then after, I think, 2021, sort of bounced around, was in alternate attacks for a little bit, then went to Fnatic Rising for a couple of months, and then Big snatched him back up. So he's gone for his little journey, wandered far, and then they got a little homesick, perhaps. And Process was home. Forced by in from Endpoint after losing that pistol round. They did look to contest early in, but BlGOMEN Academy have slowed things down quite considerably, in fact. The re-aggression here from Endpoint as those smokes fade will spot nothing. Big not revealing too much.
And that means that Endpoint has now bit down on rotating back over towards the B bomb site, despite being one player as well. They just were not expecting Process nearby. Fessor completely caught out. MiGHTYMAX and company are able to rotate back in time, but will they actually have anything to add to the conversation in the fragging department? Seems incredibly unlikely as things are going on. Process already setting up for the late round as he is going into the more defensible position. Endpoint still have a chance to do some good damage, but maybe they are just going to back off now that they've been cordoned by the smoke.
Yeah, didn't see too much success, and so they'll bring in the mantra of, if it didn't work this round, well, you can always give it another good old college try in the next.
I like that mantra.
Yeah. Nice, stable, slow working round as well here from Big Academy. Didn't overface, didn't show too much, and you saw what it did to Endpoint after they broke down that initial A setup. Just caught out of position. They were out-thunk, out-timinged. Gotta say, it's gotta be a bit bittersweet for the Endpoint guys, considering how many players have sort of run through the holes of the Endpoint organization from pretty, humble beginnings, a lot of them as well, whether that's Flames, Nerds, Crucial, now as well making it to the major. These are names that they had their hand on. Mezzy as well, another one.
Yeah. Now, honestly, with the amount of major players that have gone through the Endpoint halls, I feel like you could make two major reaching lineups, and it makes me wonder, hey, is Endpoint just really, really good at talent management and talent scouting, or are they just maybe really poor at keeping the talent and roster partnership? I know that's not their initial objective, but I'm sure they would love to make it to a major as well.
Yeah, I don't think it's about, not being able to hold on to the talent, because they understand that they don't have the same kind of pull as some of the organizations that end up taking the talent from them, whether that's more money on the table or just bigger opportunities. There's many different ways in which that can go, and I'm sure Endpoint are very well aware of it.
Listen, I'm with you, Michael, right? I'm 100% behind you. I love Endpoint, the org as well. But when I have now seen what Gamer Legion making it twice in a row and whatnot, right, there has been the blueprint. So hopefully Endpoint can go back to winning ways. They were also just consistently contending with actually making it to the major in the past as well, and being around that top 30 mark pretty steadily. And despite the right players that have passed through the halls, they haven't quite been packing the same punch in being the proper tier 2.
Yeah, this particular major felt like it was just kind of out of reach when they, you know, have nerds literally pounded out of their roster months before. So,
sorry, buddy. See ya.
Yeah. And Fessor's that replacement. You know, definitely the newest addition that I won't say it's been, you know, maybe the same talk of the town, but it's been a fairly reliable figure throughout most of his career. You know, he's, I think, sort of older, like further along in his path, and to some degree was actually sort of bouncing between rosters for a fair amount of time as well before he found himself on Astralis Talent, or even before that, actually, like Hyenas and South, which were, you know, prospective Danish rosters that never really got off the ground.
Shout out MSL, he is back.
Yeah, and funny enough, he's coming back. Trying to get back into the action, and as our Endpoint, back in with this full gun round, MiGHTYMAX a nice double kill, finding that early aggression. Big, we're trying to take space quickly, but Sensei has other plans. Fessor hanging around after they find those initial 2 kills, wanted to maybe hunt for an extra bit of information, but they have as well sectioned off a player over at B, so Big are only at 2 players remaining.
MiGHTYMAX crouching forward. Doesn't actually find anything in the jump spot. Might have seen Sensei. Sensei, obviously a player who is perhaps better known for his time in Sangol. The Austrian man coming into the lineup. We haven't seen too many Austrian players actually try and flirt with the double Counter-Strike, have we?
No, I don't think so. It's a flag that's pretty foreign to that particular breed of CS. A good swing at this round, though. Cash Arrow 1 kill, and F actually, he's doubled up. Hold on just a second. Smoke down Ellie, and they're still spread out as well on the Endpoint side. Arrow needs to punch in these digits, but he's still waiting to see if Surreal wants to show too much.
Problem is that Heavy God is one coming in for the flank, so Surreal doesn't have any bother about him whatsoever of actually rushing forward. Arrow might be able to sideline him, though. Surreal about to be spotted out, and Arrow now in quick pursuit back over towards the B bomb site. Surreal will be repeating, refacing. Arrow's expecting it, and as he starts to chain back, remember that wasn't a headshot, so there will be the kill cam. And Heavy God can make his way back over. 8 seconds means that the game is basically out and over. Arrow will not be able to win out the 1v1. If Sensei had actually found that kill, then this could have been a round.
Also, just a bit of hesitation there from Arrow. You know, had he had maybe 5 more seconds, he could actually, you know, reconsider going back to the A side. He wasn't sure where on earth Heavy God was going to reposition to, but fell right into the trap. Didn't have the time to dilly-dally, and he did a bit of dillying. Good first.
Even so, some great damage, right? And in a 2 versus 4, Big Omen Academy are still able to keep things honest for the Endpoint side, so if they lose now, they will be having their economy reset.
Absolutely. We'll take the same aggressive line as well from the big side. Don't want to get punished once again. This time Max only has the FAMAS. Around these smokes, around all the util in at ramp, this is a little bit more awkward. They had a 3-man setup built up here for Endpoint. Smoke will not make it easy for Big either.
Flashes through. MiGHTYMAX is able to get the adjustment up for 2. Perhaps that he moves off the second before the kill can be realized. Prematurely withdrawing out from the duel, and MHL is the one to tag damage next onto Sin. Sin can just stay hidden away. No reason to actually push forward. Nate is not doing too much, but Surreal's got a one-way to try and work off courtesy of the elevated angle. The grenade from Heavy God ends up getting a double Kobe. And that brings things back to a 2-on-3. Sin has gotten out of the danger zone, but the question is, does he want to get back into it as Sensei is rotating back with the bomb, looking to explore the B bomb site.
Sin still probing. They're hoping to split up and search for clues, but Sin's been called back. Sensei needs an escort, but it'll just be far too late by the time they get there. Endpoint are still convinced that it is going to be a slow-working A play. It's what happened last time when they were in the 2-on-4, so keeping their wits about them, but they have left this B bomb site vacant. Sensei just being methodical, clearing out as much as he can, and it's given enough time for Endpoint to come to the realization that it actually could be the other site. So they will realize they will be in proximity, but they cannot stop the plan.
I think they might have actually heard Sin's footsteps as well, but I'm never sure with how Vertigo's verticality is concerned. Flash will do nothing. Sensei picks one up. Needs a close range shot as well, but Sin covers off his side, so a great 2v3 now brought back to a 1v1. Sin's position not known to them. Surreal on the bomb side, and a quick tap from Sin, where he was running out of bullets as well. Fourth round secured. Again, deficit, but Big Omen playing it beautiful.
Great round recovery. I mean, starting off with a man down, but then just slowing the roll. You could see Endpoint were nervous considering the way that the last man advantage situation went. You know, they only barely squeaked by when they had 4, and this time they had 1 less to add to that tally. Great initiative from Sensei as well to just create that room. That's what allowed Sin to just keep on sort of plugging away and cutting off those rotates. Back down to pistols. Endpoint on the struggle bus.
Arrow just wants to come through and pick up a little bit of money, and indeed that'll be the first going his way. Turns around for the second as well. Heavy got his permitted a kill, but they're okay with that.
See if there can be some damage or maybe a recovered weapon in some capacity. To actually close this gap. You can see they're just hovering around the smokes, and that means that the SMG is likely to farm up some extra cash. Arrow clears close, and will find the head of MHL, so extra $600 in the pocket. They're looking pretty solid here. Big are just playing together, and even when they are encountering a few curveballs, still able to knock it out the park.
Honestly, they just do look like the significantly more cohesive team, and admittedly, a lot of that comes off the back of the fact that Endpoint has 2 players who've contributed very little to the server so far. MHL and Fessor both struggling, 0-5 and 0-6 respectively, 6 rounds into the game.
And another round where MHL just won't have an AWP. You're definitely one of the players that actually has been, I think, one of the higher performers for this squad. You know, Heavy Gods also has his moments, and he's having one right now. Double kill over towards B. Does eventually get sussed out. Sensei switching to the Deeg for the close range duel. It is a man advantage held here for Endpoint for now.
Fessor has to be the one to try and maintain it. He's been one of the struggle players, and well, struggle will continue. 0-7 now on Fessor as Process uses his death to bring it back to a 3-on-3. Big Academy have been fantastic at retrieving these man disadvantage situations into their favor. Now with a minute left, Endpoint is denied information. They don't have anyone on mid. MHL is forced to try and make a foray back over to Connector along with MiGHTYMAX, and in doing so, the A-bomb site will be abandoned, but it doesn't look like the Big Academy guys will be looking to exploit that.
They're at least aggroing through middle, so there is a chance for one of them to flank, figure out which of the sites is actually going to be the one targeted, but they're actually peeling away. You have to make sure they don't make noise. Surreal has no info. There's no ability to call these players over or stop them from resetting back to A, so he's alone.
Sin's made noise as well. Flashbang is good. Surreal is going to be ducked away. Sin isn't quite able to clear it out, but in through that concrete, rather the steel, will be the upshot connecting. Doesn't actually eliminate him. That's up to Process to finish up. And Sensei again, a clutch where with the AWP, he's able to bring it back to a 1v1. Spots at the second player as well, but MiGHTYMAX's grenade is what ends up saving the day there.
Yeah, bang on the money with that nade. Even though Sensei was already low HP, even if he had 20, 30 more, it probably would have dunked him all the same. Who needs to set up for gunfights when the util can do it for you? That's a great job there from Surreal, all in all. You know, a very problematic position to be in. 3 players coming your way, and your teammates were divided from your site. But stayed alive for long enough, found his 1 kill, and just made it such a bother for Big to actually close that gap. MHL blinded up by the flash, and Sensei able to capitalize a solid duel to kick things off. Process even taking the ground away from that kill, and Fessor as well, blinded up round the tarp. It doesn't matter. Kills just keep on falling into Big's lap, and they came in with only 3 rifles into this round. They've now got a couple more that they can recover.
Yeah, man, Endpoint right now is just being a little bit rock and roll.
And they're getting punished for trying to be aggressive towards a ramp. At the moment, you know, the protocols for whether or not, or sort of what utility that big academy are going to throw in that area has been changing pretty frequently. You know, we saw the sort of lurk smoke into pop flash through from big in a previous round, which, you know, was a little chaotic and maybe could have resulted in sort of better Endpoint success. But then as well, these sort of mid rounds, you can see they're kind of flying a little blind, even though they're hunting for information. You know, they're doing so in the wrong spots. They've been the areas have been vacant when they've looked for a kill or hunted for an extra player, and it just means that, you know, we're set up in these sort of post plant positions or these late round spots where Endpoint almost cannot adjust their setup or can't position themselves in the right way to actually counteract it. You know, that round with Surreal alone on B, like, sure they won it, but, you know, that's a 1v1. The scary signs.
Definitely getting more and more concerning.
And one of the concerns is that, you know, as time's gone on, Fessor, when he first came into this lineup, he didn't actually look, you know, the sharpest. And so when they actually committed to picking him up, I think people were a little bit reserved. But he's actually had a good round of form ever since he's had more time with this roster. Just not able to show any of that in the server currently.
No, unfortunately for Endpoint, they are definitely missing out on some of their heavier hitters, right? MHL statistically is their best player. And, you know, in all fairness, he is opping, and that will tend to happen. But he hasn't had the op very often, if at all. Despite that, not really giving us much to write home about either. And there is some tale to be told about how well Big Academy are disabling the Endpoint side. Yeah. But it is also partially about, hey, you do sort of just need to hit some shots on these players.
Yeah, look, this is a man advantage that Endpoint have found, but let's not mince our words. This is still going to be a very difficult round for them to actually convert. They didn't come in with the most pristine buy. They've got pistols, SMGs. They might catch players off guard, but Sky was holding for a push there from Heavy God. Surreal, 25 HP, one more bullet would do him in. The Deke will finish him off. MHL does rotate in time, but he's concerned about a mid-wrap. His teammates coming in from Ellie might be able to alleviate that stress or just find the stress themselves. One head roll and down to a 2-on-3 where there's at least a rifle that can be retrieved. I think if MHL rediverts, he can get his hands on an AK at the very least. So this should be a safe call here from Endpoint. This is another one round. T-side's looking good here for Big.
At the very least, they should be able to pull out an op in the next. If Surreal would like to drop that one out for MHL, let's see if they can try and bring it a full turnaround from there. And look, man, Fessor, the 007 is sort of what you're worried about. I can't see the assists, but going to potential 0-10 territory has got to be incredibly demotivating. He does have one assist, but, like, who cares, right? It really doesn't matter at that stage. He's got 19 ADR so far when it was 2-5. Of course, I can only check that through... and since then it's been 16 now as the round finishes up.
I mean, yeah, you know, you just want to be able to finish off a kill. Like, I'm sure that's all Fessor wants right now is to you can't buy a frag. That's why I was trying to preface it. It's like he has actually looked solid with this roster as of late, but this is just not one of his greater showings, if even a showing at all so far. Except the rebound, otherwise Big might just run away completely with Vertigo.
On the flip side of things, though, you do have Process, the man we pointed out for Big to being... Process, right as we say his name, he is on fire. And not figuratively. MiGHTYMAX wants to take the peaks forward with utility as well in his hand. He's going to be showering out. Maybe a flashbang is all they need as they peek in. Unfortunately, Sensei is just watching out for that very play. Process caught up with the flash, and the Molotov will be forced off the angle. Maybe MHL's got a backstab in him, but he will be naded down as well. His position perhaps realized. Fessor playing in on the other side, trying to take a slightly closer angle with the crane, but as he peeks forward, two men peeking out over onto him. He gets onto the board, but quickly traded out, and MHL is still unable to add anything to the conversation, even playing into the super box.
Seems too worried to plant there. Worried about counter nades or counter util or even the spam connecting, but even with its low HP, he will be able to punch in those digits. These 3 that remain here for Endpoint, if they don't find anything in the next 10-15 seconds, they will maybe call it quits. It's already a pretty stellar half here from Big. They're not going to be satisfied with the fact that they've conceded so many. The fact that they've got these smokes down, I mean, they're just unable to get any of the kills. Right now, Big are playing around these smokes just as well, and jumping up, MHL will lose his life, and now these guns are too committed. They're too far forward. The Big side should likely chase these players down, and they're just trying their best to do as much damage as possible. This is not a retake that you'll talk about here on the Endpoint side. Big just continue to keep on rolling through more and more successes in post plants.
They just look so prepared for the utility to come through on the Endpoint side, right? Like, MiGHTYMAX was just a free kill. Sensei's playing anti-flash, waiting for him to peek forward once the flashbang will be coming through. Takes him down. He's got no worries whatsoever about the alley position because Process is making sure MHL is completely disabled by continually showing presence. Even if he's burned by the Molotov, the fact that he shows presence there means that MHL can't be flashed forward, he can't swing out, he can't make any of those calls out for himself either. So MiGHTYMAX, the one to make the play, is caught out completely. Now, no smokes, but it is just Process to come out. MiGHTYMAX is again felled. Fessor on the other side of it is once again able to get involved. Good for a single kill. It brings it back to a 4-on-4, and they reset from there. So maybe still something to be done here, but the B bomb site is a destination. So Real is found. Skye the one to deliver death, and Heavy God trades it. But as he's trying to re-navigate closer to the stairs, he will end up falling himself.
Oh, MHL steps were made, an arrow was prepared for the push. Fessor has gone an extra kill, but 3 more ahead of him. He's still hovering for this. He wants to see if Big make a mistake, and they won't. Sensei, another fantastic kill on these post plants over at B. He's already up to 10. His teammate with him in Process. 12 kills respectively, but it's been a real collective effort from Big. Some solid trading and honestly just maintaining their game plan. They, Fessor pushed down through the scaffolding, found a kill over at A, and Sensei could have lingered, could have actually forced that trade, but the call had been made that they were going to try and commit B, and he needed to go get the bomb, so Sensei didn't hesitate. He didn't even consider it. Clear focus, and right now that's popping heads. Heavy God dealt with the only player at B.
That doesn't seem like the right
No, that's definitely just a firework, but who wouldn't be celebrating? They've got a completely open bomb site.
Well, now that they know, maybe they want to pop out a few more of those middle 5 shows. Now, it is decent Sensei's tag, but again, Endpoint have got really nothing to offer to the server over here, beyond maybe just a few more stats that they can pad up. God knows that they need it. Saving is a little bit surprising to me, personally. They do have a bind the next round, but I guess with the Kevlar, at least it guarantees you a bit more utility to work with. Even just throwing your bodies at them to see if you can get some confidence out of it would not be the worst thing in the world.
That's a real saving, a lot of value on him, so definitely understand why he's not committing to this, but MHL could probably throw himself out there.
Has he had the op yet?
Nope, don't think
so. I
so.
don't think he has, right? Yeah.
And rifles on rifles.
We'll be able to purchase it up in the next round, so just the Kevlar maintained means he will have utility with it. Let's see whether that actually changes things or whether this will be as one-sided of an affair as Big has made it out to be. That's kind of depressing. I do definitely want to see MHL pick that one up and just say, hey, I can take control of the server.
And I've certainly seen him, favor rifles on maps before, but it just feels like when so much has already gone wrong this half, like even if it's not your most comfortable map to AWP on, it feels like a way in.
Just try something new, right? Oh.
Well, it was an early exchange. Heavy God took a lot of damage for his duel. In fact, died for it, but there was at least a reciprocation via utility. This guy didn't get away with that one for free.
Trades, I believe is the term. Maybe a few more to come true. So Real, not flashed at all. Seems like he has managed to completely dodge out the white screen, but Sin cannot be dodged. There is the trades, and more trades coming over. Sin as well is jumping up and down. MHL will be able to locate him and takes him apart. 2-2 with Big Omen not having too much HP on Brosis, so not exactly the best of situations. You're expecting Sensei to step up with a couple of big ones, but he misses out on a crucial frag, and MHL is there to punish.
And Brosis being so low HP. Sure, a sharp hand on these rifles, but needs to be that much quicker to the trigger on every one of these fights. Headshot angles will certainly favor him. Gotta be very, very concerned. Endpoint cannot afford to lose more and more resources. They've already lost a lot in this half.
Okay. Picks up the op as well.
Yeah, that op somehow finding its way to him.
Okay, well, he's just
Saving. Yeah.
He's just saving. All right. Well, I don't blame him for it, but I would have liked to see him go for the attempt just for purely selfish reasons.
If you don't blame him for it, I will, because there's only 2 more rounds left in the half, and you can almost certainly buy both times over.
Okay, well then blame all the way.
Yeah, so why wouldn't you try?
Okay. Fair enough. I guess I just didn't have that grind set mindset in my head.
Like, even if they bought the orb, again, they still would have had enough money. I don't see it, but
Doesn't matter. They're academy players. Their maths might not be the best, okay?
I don't know. I feel like big are well drilled in terms of money and util.
That is true. MiGHTYMAX. Slightly different angle, taking all the way back to the safe position. Now, he needs to be careful. Brosis is already on his side. I think he might have gone 4-3 there as well, but MiGHTYMAX is still able to pick up a kill and some damage on the Brosis as well. Follow-up nades, Molotovs, arrows not feeling too good about it. Sensei as well has been chinked down by the utility damage a fair bit.
MHL having some nice rounds of back-to-back impact. Struggled to get on the board, but now these past couple may have found some form. Since they're still probing with this AWP, and given that he's low, all it takes is one great timing from MHL. But he is totally divided. His teammates nowhere near to help reinforce. Start to see Heavy God rotate round. That's because they have Surreal on a flank, but it's hard for this to be realized until there is some resistance put up on the site.
Oh, while the bomb is being planted, MHL and Surreal have both found the kill apiece. Arrow's been left all alone. Needs to try and get aggressive before the flank can activate, and MHL will shut it down. So, slight revival, right? He's up to 6 kills. Doing a little bit better in the past few rounds as well. Some crucial frags that have let Endpoint blind up to 4.
Yeah, 5 kills in the past 2. So, it's getting better. It's getting better. But you need to see all 5 here for Endpoint. That's the floor that's set. It won't be easy. He said they had another buy loaded up in the tank. Look at all that floating cash that they kept. Just wasted money.
Oh, beautiful. Sensei just completely destroys Fessor, and Brosis isn't too far behind and taking apart MiGHTYMAX. They're not happy with just double digits. They want to have the double numbers as well. The big 1-1. Magello still around the corner, will be waiting. Sensei, aggressive peek is nice to see, but not one he can actually capitalize upon. Arrow trades out and good for another one. There's still a third player on the bomb side. Heavy God is able to commit through, brings it back to a 1-on-1. They weren't expecting him to have rotated through the B-side anchor to be here already. And Sky is now left all alone. Has had some crucial entries over towards the B bomb side as well, but now...
Oh, this reposition.
Absolutely huge. Will not be expected in the slightest. Sky, however, could have also come through from the other side. Heavy God makes it look easy. The 1v3 completely collected upon. 5 rounds for Endpoint. Can they do better in the second half? Let's wait to find out.
don't speak for a couple of weeks. I'll be in his place till he calls and says he's sorry. This situation's on repeat, just like a scratch on a CD. It just gets deeper when you hit rewind. How many nights will you make this decision? Nights ending tears and it's blurring your vision. You know he don't love you, hurt you holding on to. Scream through the phone even though he won't listen. So I'm still at your place, trying to make it okay. He's miles away, I'm left here with you. Say that you just need someone caring for you. When will you see me more than you rescue? I'm feeling kinda used, yeah, like a drug that you take when you're sick of crying all your tears away. Is that all I am? All I want is for you to be happy. You know this ain't healthy. Do I make you happy? How many nights will you make this decision? Nights ending tears and it's blurring your vision. You know he don't love you, what you holding on to. Scream through the phone even though he won't listen. So I'm still at your place, trying to make it okay. He's miles away, I'm left here with
And it might be already into the action, but we've not missed any of the kills, and that's what Counter-Strike's all about. Kills, baby, kills! Something that Endpoint was struggling with getting.
Yeah,
in the
it took
first
them a
half.
while, but finally they found a bit of form. Recovering at least 5 rounds is enough, but pistol is so important. Skye's already found one, and Fessor, phasing the smoke, does collect on at least one back, but they maintain this man advantage. They're still pressuring over towards short side. Heavy, at least able to answer back with another kill, and both him and Max trying to close that gap, and they will succeed. MHL's taken ground on the site, but he loses his life for his efforts. Arrow creeping in, and that bomb being tapped means they knew exactly where one was positioned. 8 more seconds, and there's no more that Heavy God can do. That pistol felt like a contingency that Endpoint needed to find to bring this one back. Big now that much closer to the finish line.
And Arrow's been looking kind of legit in like these close mid-range chaotic duels. I know he's not necessarily the most hype player of the lineup, but he's had a few really good rounds so far. And I have to say his decision-making whenever it's getting chaotic has been pretty solid, pretty on point, and aim's all right as well. I'm cautiously optimistic.
Yeah, one of the newer additions to this lineup, right? I think came in at the start of this year.
Yeah.
Just, I think, a couple months before Sensei. But, yeah, I mean, Arrows struck me as a pretty solid player in positions where, especially when there's trades to be had, I always rely on this guy to get that trade kill.
And I have to say, man, I remember Dwellon once replied to me on Twitter when they were talking, when the hype pickup happened as well, and I think it's true even now. Dude, Big Academy is just... They just look like they're getting ready to plug them into, like, main Big the second someone's form drops even
I mean,
a
I'm
little
pretty
bit.
sure they copy all the same strats, so...
Yeah.
NIP were making full use of their Academy team. Big, I think, actually test some of their strats with the Academy guys. I've seen some cool stuff that I think I saw them do before Big, especially when it came to, like, Anubis, which is newer territory.
I do definitely think that one of the better things about having like a high-level academy team like this is just specialized training and specialized scrimmages. Because in my head, I thought of some real nerdy stuff when it comes to that. Like, obviously, we're talking over this round because it is just anti-Glocks. It doesn't really matter that much. But I've always thought things like, hey, just dry run and test out the first 45 seconds of a default again and again to super hyper optimize, because you can't do that versus other teams, things like that, right? Just exploit the young guns.
Yeah, you're gonna work for our big team. And hell, all that rehearsal can certainly pay off. Seemed very composed on that T slide. And now on CT, hoping that they are just able to sweep this one under the rug. Endpoint should have had some signs of life, but I think you're hoping to flatline him. Process, close smoke, and playing very close scaffolding as well. When that smoke fades, they might be in for a nasty surprise. They have to be aware of it. They are spamming 4 Process inside of it, but the flashes are good. It distracts them long enough to fight over towards ramp. Sure, it's 1 kill, but that's an SMG finding one over a rifle. Endpoint not going to be too satiated. Fessor finally, 1 more frag, but the trades are immaculate here for big 3-on-3.
Real caught out as well. Skye's completely aware of him coming over. Heavy God maybe will be able to silently drop down and see if he can come through with the wraparound, but no. Re-navigating back towards the B-bomb side in the 2 versus 3. MHL is going to have a significantly safer passage over. Heavy God's also heard the drop down, but now it feels like Skye might be a little bit wiser to it. Regardless of wisdom, it is still just brutality that welcomes Skye.
That's a big play there from Heavy God. Now just trying to act as coverage. MHL dialing in those edges. A 1-on-2, and he can get nothing for his efforts. Arrow just sidelines both with back-to-back headshots on a FAMAS, no less. God damn.
Guy's just so solid, honestly. 17 kills on him now, leading up the scoreboard with a slight creep up.
And here's the heartbreak. Fessor got both of those kills over at ramp. He's been struggling to have his impact in this game. And, you know, Heavy God made a really, really good play. You know, him and Surreal, Skye expected 1, but 2? And then he had very good patience, knew exactly where he was going to be, hit a crazy shot. And even with that in mind, you know, a player that hasn't been able to contribute much to the game, as well as a big play attempted there from Heavy God, for it to still go askew, yeah, man, it's not been Endpoint's map. They have been all over them.
Well, MiGHTYMAX is able to find Sensei over here, so another advantage gained for Endpoint, perhaps. Still some space to turn around, at least for momentum, even if not for the game. Remember, Mirage coming up next. It is a significantly more punky map. And I would not be wanting to go up against the big boys with how well they've been trading across the board.
Yeah, the flowchart on Mirage spreads out farther.
Flashbang is there. 3 players blind. Surreal was playing anti, and Arrow is also going to be finding it very difficult to get away with his life. He's trying to get the elevated angle, good for the 1 before he falls, but that 1 is good for very little. Process left all alone to try and save the AWP.
Good stuff. Slow grinding away at ramp and finding kills on many of the individuals here on Endpoint, but you have to make sure they don't lose too many lives. Sure, Persis might escape with his AWP, but you understood this was going to be quite a long road anyway, and, well, bigger likely to have an AWP in future rounds. Sure, they wouldn't have been able to afford it. And actually, this save is of very high importance, given that Skye doesn't have enough money to reinvest in the following round.
They still have kind of weak money, even with the reinvestment using the AWP. I'm assuming Process wants to drop the AWP over by an M4 for himself along with utility, but even then, it's not going to be the best situation to be in.
I mean, they can have an SMG or someone on a pistol at the very least. They can squeak this one together. There will only be one person that has to really bow down to purely suboptimal weapon. Maybe even Arrow gets a FAMAS in favor of that over a utility, and yeah, he'll opt for that. So now this buy is sound enough. Okay. They've got a kit on Process as well, so retakes can occur.
Deep Molotov out from Fessor. Process will be revealing his position. Okay, never mind. The X-ray just turned off. Okay, that timing on the X-ray, I definitely did. Fessor, though, trying to just duck the hell out of there. Will be revealing position right at the nick of time. That's Process and its head taken off.
Such a hard angle to clear that one, but what you get for trying to mess around with smokes. Over at A and MHL, tried to creep out middle. Did have another player accompanying him at the very least, but HeavyGod doesn't commit too far for the swing. The rest of the team are grouped up bottom side B, but they're peeling away. That's because Fessor's taken so much ground, and they're loud about this rotation, hoping that it might actually bait another player into Fessor's sightlines, but Sensei cutting off towards the scaffolding. If Surreal falls, it's going to be a hard angle to clear, but the flash is perfectly placed.
Really nicely done. There are 3 players present over here. Surreal's been tagged up as well, but Sin has suffered the grenade as a result of it. Some more spam damage to be returned. Skye trying to find an angle. Fessor will be able to trace him out of the smoke, and all of these smoke shenanigans are leading Fessor into a better position. Arrow, 1 versus 3 now on the bomb side as he has found the first. 18 seconds mean that Endpoint have to get a move on, and Arrow will be able to pick up another kill, but with bullets running out, it feels like his life is only temporary, and, well, you could say that about everyone.
Yeah, spoiler alert. But Burke in the money now of Big, and that should allow Endpoint to close in on this gap. Great stuff there from Fessor, running in as the sort of lurking presence or the sole man over on that A site, but as well kept his wits about him. That smoke that was down mid-site, understood that a boost could occur. Took a while for him to kind of realize that there was a player up there, but didn't miss his opportunity once it was presented. As long as they manage against these pistols, Endpoint are getting closer and closer to at least getting to double digits. There's a stack on A. So that is a cause for concern if Endpoint decides to slow work it. Seeing that 1 smoke down has kind of booped them out, so they make their way back over towards B, and Big are doing the same.
Well, Big might be able to get their numbers in time, but despite the stack looking to be present, the likelihood of the kills coming through is pretty low when Endpoint has this much utility, these many flashes. That being said, 4 players are still here. And it is going to be the A side rotate from Endpoint. Still a player maybe to be caught out over here. Need to be careful. MiGHTYMAX is right underneath them, and he will be able to come out for at least 2 good ones, but AK can now be recovered. Let's see what kind of damage can be dealt, because Endpoint are going to pursue.
Don't know if there's really much of an incentive to get rid of these weapons, but they'll still chase them down. Weirdly enough, this is actually an advantage where having the low ground works in your favor. Arrow catches Fessor, just chasing a little too far. The thing is, Endpoint need their money to be stable, and if they give another kill over, this would be very suboptimal. So they don't even chase it any much more than they needed to. Some good damage, though, out of that round from Big, and saving over this AK gives them another avenue of attack. They shouldn't commit to a buy here. Just a half commitment on upgraded pistols is most likely, and yeah, we'll see if Arrow can be put to work. It's had a pretty solid game so far, already on 22 kills. Hey, what's a couple more?
Well, Arrow's gone.
Yeah.
So maybe a couple more can wait for the next few rounds. Fessor as well, accelerating forward. Molotov into the sandbags corner as well, and Sensei with a deep nade doesn't really find anything. Sin is given a bit more space to come over. Head spotted out. Fessor will be able to avoid out most of the firepower though. And well, I'll say that. And if it's into the eagle and dies. So I'm wrong.
Oh, they tried to throw another Molotov, but that smoke just survived long enough to extinguish the flames. And Skye's found his kill as well over on B. Smoke down will go a little further than I think he anticipated. But we'll stop them at the mouth of that B bomb site. This is a worrying development. But they don't have any of these rifles. They haven't retrieved weapons off of the fallen Endpoint members just yet. Nor Arrow, who saved his AK over. He missed it.
Peeking forward, he's got the timing, good for another one, but can't get the third. It's Sin to come through on the side. Now a 2-on-1. MHL to try and recover the bomb as well. He's moved past initially, smoked down to try and segment off these players, but the Eagles could even try and move through it. A double peek forward would not be too surprising. Bomb recovered. MHL not tapping on it just yet. He did hear the drop down, and MHL trying to circle around the corners, but Tag still not realizing where exactly that second man might be. Sin swings out, and with a triple, gives them the 14.
Yeah, it wasn't even the saved over AK that caused them all these issues. It was just these Deegs. I mean, just the amount that they stopped Endpoint over at ramp, you could see that they were a bit hesitant about how they should continue to approach it. Had they simply waited out that smoke and just allowed Big to even transition back to bomb sites, they may have been in a better spot, weirdly enough, but, you know, they start bleeding out player after player, and after they lose that second or another man over towards the B bomb site as well, suddenly they're left with very little actual control on which way they can go. You know, they lost some of the duels at A ramp. They peeled away to reset B, but when they lose the B player, then it feels like you're kind of trapped between, you know, you're suddenly the meat in the sandwich. You know, you didn't expect to be there, but yeah, that's a hell of a round to steal away.
Isn't the meat in the sandwich the best part?
Oh, I mean, it is, but, you know, you just if you just eat the meat separately, you know, it's not a sandwich. I'm trying to say they were kind of boxed in. You know, they were sandwiched.
Okay, because if I was any part of a sandwich, I would probably want to be the meat.
Listen, I don't know enough about food to contest this.
I had a open sandwich pretty recently. I'll tell you about that later on.
What is an
Kind of
open
absurd.
sandwich?
It's honestly, it's just an absurd thing,
What, a
and it
bowl?
was really hard to eat.
Well,
There's one piece of bread underneath.
This might be a tough pill to swallow. Endpoint may just lose out on this game after suffering a fate at the hands of Pistols, but Fessor has other plans. Had a slow start to this game, but they found the sole A-site defender, and so that bomb can get punched in rather quickly. Omen are cut off, but Heavy God overstaying his welcome back to 4-on-4, and they've got util. They barely had time to throw any of these nades out of their hands. They will commit to this retake.
I'm incredibly surprised that Heavy God doesn't actually end up getting the kill. MHL is fully blinded up by his own teammate. Fessor not doing him any favors. The timing's just not working out there. Fessor now needs to try and come through, pick things up in the kills department instead. And with all four moving forward, that's a great flashbang from Surreal. Fessor picks up 2 at the back of it, but while the defuse is being looked around for, MiGHTYMAX is just trying to knife inside the smoke. Seems like he might end up giving up his life. No, it's actually just Fessor who dies, and MiGHTYMAX even swings that and takes down Sim. So, all in all, a pretty successful round for Endpoint. Great stuff from Fessor.
Yeah, I mean, 4 kills to have put them back into the system. Punch in number 9, and only Pistols that can be brought forward here for Big Academy. That actually was sort of racked up to be quite a successful retake, all things considered. You know, had so many nades that they could throw, whereas sometimes you just don't have that luxury in late round moments. In getting turned the wrong way, and he's the only one who actually bought armor in this round, so it's kind of the most valuable player to have lost. Maybe this will, you know, the fact that Big Academy are so close to the finish line, maybe that's where it's becomes more of a no-holds-barred kind of game for a few of the Endpoint members when I'm a little looser.
Oh, all right.
Maybe that's too loose. That's an AK given over, and I want to say we saw the damage it did before, but it actually did nothing. So
it spurred them on and was the moral support. The AK dying first was their flag going down, right? That's where just the troops, they get together, the battalion assembles. Fight to avenge.
yeah, maybe.
But probably not.
Sometimes when you get back into a corner, sometimes even if you're low on stamina, you'll maybe catch a second wind, and maybe that's what's happening here for Endpoint.
Who knows?
Now up to double digits.
Better than just dying.
Yeah, that is true. But at least go down swinging. And they're not down just yet. Still some life left in them.
There will be a fair few buys out for Big regardless. I think there should be at least 2 gun rounds before Endpoint is able to potentially equalize. So, battle is very much uphill, but they seem to have found a car to take them. And let's see whether it is sturdy enough to survive the journey.
A few of these openings have just been drive-through frags. Try and get you over to the next window, and they've not even paid for it just yet.
They're really worried about this potential aggression to come through from Arrow. Surreal will have creeped past the smoke already on his own. There is only 1 player on the B-bomb side, as has been the case many times over. Rotation from Sky will be well timed, though. As you can see, they've already explored out to ramp and seen very few numbers. Now, the problem is those very few numbers might end up becoming a few more, but Endpoint is still pretty committed over towards the idea of a B-side hit. Arrow's got one for free. Surreal has gone by the sidelines, and Endpoint are now starting to rotate back over the A-bomb side.
They're bailing. I mean, even before Surreal died, I don't think they were fully committed to that unless he found that kill quickly. Fessor just trying to take as much ground as possible, given that they need this plan to work out. But the flash, it doesn't work out.
Oh my God.
Partial blinded by it, and the smoke that greeted him at his feet as well simultaneously. Again, this is another spot where Endpoint are kind of bouncing between bomb sites, and they don't really have a foothold on either of them.
I don't think that was a partial blind, Michael. I think that was a full blind. Might be wrong on that one, but
either way,
yeah,
didn't
it's just
shoot back.
not ideal. Well, 5-on-3, and it feels like the saved AK might not have made a difference, but again, the flag bearer is that Arrow will end up falling. MiGHTYMAX and MHL come through, kill a piece, and Heavy God has decided to chime in as well. All 3 players low, but I'm spurred on by the blood they have already shed. Heavy God will fall. There is a grand total of 33 HP amongst the remaining 2 players. Fortunately, there are no grenades, no Molotovs, nothing of the sort. Endpoint, however, will have to be very sharp about their shots and about the decisions that they make here. MiGHTYMAX trying to play in closer to the smoke. Get in with a bit of a one-way. Great shot on the Sin. Sin is gone. Process trying to close the distance. Knows what the first is. Can the second be found? He's looking for the bomb instead. Was underneath him all along.
That is a miracle of a round. I mean, they're literally trapped. They're bouncing between bomb sites. They have very little stake on A ramp or B. We saw the desperation that Fessor was trying to, you know, mount some pressure over on that A side, but that would work to no avail. They end up just collecting, grouping over at B, and finding 3 kills in the blink of an eye. Like, that's not how that is supposed to go. Big squandering a 5-on-3 advantage. And Endpoint just pulling their socks up. I mean, that's crazy to have been able to get out of that situation. So well done. And now they face the dreaded pistols. And this time they are extra cautious.
Can't blame him for it. Problem is, Arrow, good for the one, and Sky is in a solid position now as well. Sin, as long as he can be eliminated, this shouldn't be too much of a chance here. Sky, even if he had found that kill on the Surreal, would have had very little, if anything, to say in that round. Much cleaner affair.
Yeah. This is the second game we're covering out of the ESL Challenger League today, and we covered the Asia region earlier on, and it was quite close. We ended up in overtimes, we ended up in, almost 30 rounds every map. And, we're kind of I'm kind of projecting this is going to be more of the same. I expected this to be quite a close game, but with how well big we're doing at the start of it, I wasn't so sure that Endpoint would have, this extra pep to their step. It seems like they have found a stride that they're comfortable with now. How big are... Maybe they just weren't ready for this trail to keep extending, keep bending for this road to end. But Fessor has been found. Cut between two angles. They were actually looking to re-aggress late. MHL and Heavy God have both found kills aplenty. And there is at least a reciprocation, so it's still 3-on-3. There is no big man advantage here for Endpoint to leverage, but they are committing B.
Arrow's got a Molotov as well. That will make this a little bit more tricky. There's plenty of time to wait it out, but the peek forward, flashbang was good. Arrow comes through with 2. I don't even know where the second came out of, Michael. I don't actually think I saw that.
Yeah, no, he spray transferred
blinked
it.
and missed it. Wow.
Yeah, our observer was so sure that he was gonna go traded, but he spray transferred for both of those kills. And Endpoint, considering the fact that they found this double entry, he couldn't get MHL to escape the clutches of a trade. It's really all Arrow, and hell, he's been the man to impress this map. Now up to 27, and sure, he might be denied 30, but I'll give him a chance. Maybe 3 more to find this round. MHL will cut down the AWP of Big. Process will try and take up the responsibility of contesting ramp.
Sin being pursued out. Flashbang shouldn't really be able to find anyone, but Process coming in from behind him is going to be a completely unknown factor. There should be multiple kills. Guys, please, I really got to see Process. And they, okay. Comes out with 2. Trades are there from Fessor, but Process is going to keep it going. Big Omen Academy looking like they might just have the round that they need. It's still a 2-on-3, so doable, but Endpoint have just slowed things down. Process retreating.
What?
Oh my god, he's able to find Heavy God. That's with the cap in the tarp, spots him out, was so vigilant about it, and then just goes for the straight wallbang. Surreal alone, and now in a 1-on-3. That kill seems almost unfair. Surreal cheating pass will be unexpected, and he does have the bomb, so this hole on the defense could be exploited, but the time is running down very low. Sin's first death and casualty will be something they are very okay with giving up. And now he's caught in between 2 angles, and they are both very vigilant. Surreal seems to have no real chance of bringing this one back. Sky's got a Molotov as well, so getting the plant down will be nearly impossible. And as the drop comes through, Sky can just wait a few more seconds. 10 seconds on the clock. Surreal will be taking out the defuse. Sky will go down. And it has to be an ace for Process, otherwise no chance in the round at all. He drops forward, will be peeking through. Surreal, however, is just another victim. Process, what a way to end this game.
Yeah, I mean, that play was perfect. It was such a nice setup there from Big, and Process gets all the glory. He gets all of the kills, but Sin is the unsung hero in that round. He distracted, he pulled attention all over to that sandbags, and as soon as those players were turned the wrong way, that's where Process struck. I mean, a great way to pull off a great win on Vertigo, but Big were in control for most of this game.